The anti-gunners are scared, y'all. Scared. And they just came out in a big way against the upcoming case in the United States Supreme Court. You're going to want to watch this one. Sit by and watch this episode of Guns and Gadgets. Today's episode is brought to us by Blackout Coffee. It is the 3-year anniversary of Blackout Coffee, and we thank you all for helping us achieve that goal. And to celebrate, we are going to offer a sale for everybody. So all coffee and hot chocolate, so the coffee bags, whether it's whole bean, ground, and K-Cups as well, and our hot chocolate, it's going to be buy 2, get 1 free in celebration of our 3-year anniversary. So if you would like to save big and score on some of the best coffee in the land, I am very partial to my 2A medium roast and my 1776 dark roast. But if you love a kick of caffeine in the morning, check out Brutal Awakening. And hot chocolate, guys and gals, fall's here. I mean, today is the official start of fall. Or was it yesterday? You get it. But buy 2, get 1 free, blackoutcoffee.com/GNG. And thank you for supporting Blackout Coffee and Guns and Gadgets. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate you watching. If you're not a member of the channel, please consider subscribing. This is where you'll get Second Amendment news from all around the country, just about as fast as it will happen. And I really hope you'll help this channel get the word out as well. Let's just jump right into this. So if you've been watching these videos that I put out, you'll remember we talked a lot about this New York State Rifle and Pistol Association case versus New York. And it's a direct challenge to the way that New York violates people's rights in turning away or denying people's Second Amendment right, privilege, based off of certain standards that New York has. And the entire gun control methodology is basically founded on this principle. And should this case be ruled that it is unconstitutional, and there's a lot of behind the scenes information pointing that way, but of course we'll have to wait until the justices take this up on November 3rd, and we won't hear anything until springtime, maybe even as late as June, as far as a decision. However, there are a lot of groups from around the nation that will file paperwork in support of overturning the case or in support of upholding the case. And I've talked to you before about how many people had come out and filed amicus briefs or amicus briefs, amicus briefs, depending on where you live in the country. It's kind of like, potato, potato, tomato, tomato type deal, although Dan Quayle spelt it wrong. There's a lot of groups that came out in favor of gun control yesterday at the Supreme Court as far as amicus briefs are concerned. I'm going to look off screen to the list here. I'm on the Supreme Court's website for this case, and I'm going to tell you how many amicus briefs were circulated yesterday regarding keeping it the way it is, like violating people's rights is what these amicus briefs want. And one of them, just wait and see. So bear with me while I look off screen to read these to you. They received and circulated to the justices briefs from the Lambda Legal Defense and Education Fund, New York City Gay and Lesbian Anti-Violence Project, Pride Fund to End Gun Violence, Gays Against Guns, National LGBTQ Task Force, Equality California, Equality Florida, and Equality New York Fund. Also from the Violence Policy Center, from the city of Chicago, and 11 other cities. Now, what cities you're going to ask? Well, I'm going to tell you. The city solicitors or city attorneys are their titles, but from Baltimore, Maryland, Cincinnati, Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, Dayton, Ohio, Los Angeles, California, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Portland, Oregon, St. Paul, Minnesota, San Diego, California, San Francisco, California, and of course, Seattle, Washington. Those cities have come out saying, look here, justices, Supreme Court folk, keep letting us violate these people's rights because guns bad, criminals are okay, we're going to free them all, Let them do whatever, but guns bad in the hands of good people. I'll continue because this is a long list and I want to get through this. The American Bar Association, the attorneys want you to get your rights violated continuously. The Partnership for New York City, social scientists and public health researchers in support of respondents submitted their brief. The Educational Fund to Stop Gun Violence, and 35 other organizations. And I'm going to tell you who these people are, because if you're just reading this stuff and you don't dig deep, you don't know all the companies that are coming out saying, hey, let's continue to violate these people's rights because we need to stay away from the Constitution. And if you are a member of any of these groups or know somebody in any of these groups, it's time to start calling folks out if you're not doing it already. So, which are these 35 other groups? Educational Fund to Stop Gun Violence, Ceasefire Pennsylvania Education Fund, Colorado Ceasefire Legislative Action, Delaware Coalition Against Gun Violence, the Jewish Alliance for Law and Social Action, Maine Gun Safety Coalition, Maine. Are you guys listening? Constitutional Carry, Maine. This group wants this to continue to go, this current standard of violating people's rights. Marylanders to Prevent Gun Violence. The Massachusetts Coalition to Prevent Gun Violence. This state sucks. North Carolinians Against Gun Violence. New Yorkers Against Gun Violence Education Fund. The Ohio Coalition Against Gun Violence. Protect Minnesota. The Rhode Island Coalition Against Gun Violence. States United to Prevent Gun Violence. Stop Handgun Violence. The Wisconsin Anti-Violence Effort Educational Fund. And notice all these are funds where they want to give out that dollar bill to those politicians. How about the National League of Cities? How about a brief for the state of California? The NAACP Legal Defense and Educational Fund, the National Urban League, Citizens Crime Commission of New York City, New York County Lawyers Association, the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, the American Civil Liberties Union, the New York Civil Liberties Union, Everytown for Gun Safety. You must be taking a second from buying the election in Virginia. Don't know what I'm talking about. Look at the video floating above. March for Our Lives, Corpus Linguistics Professors and Experts, the United States Senators Briefs. I am going to click on this one. And if your senator is in here, they are voting or urging the United States Supreme Court to destroy the Second Amendment. Because make no mistake, if they rule that the state of New York and other states that do this, that are not shall issue, if they rule this can stay the way it is, guys and gals, it's going to fundamentally change things, although it will fundamentally change things as well. So in this brief, this amicus brief, there are 152 members of Congress who are saying, please, justices of the Supreme Court, please destroy what is known as the Second Amendment and let us continue to violate the rights of the Americans who we are supposed to be serving, and we're supposed to be protecting the Constitution. But let's violate it. Here we go. I'm going to go down it quick. Take note and listen. Chuck Schumer, New York. Tammy Baldwin, Wisconsin. Richard Blumenthal, Connecticut. Cory Booker, New Jersey. Tom Carpenter, Delaware. Robert Casey, Pennsylvania. Chris Coons, Delaware. Tammy Duckworth, Illinois. Richard Durbin, Illinois. Dianne Feinstein, California. Kristen Gillibrand, New York. Mazie Hirono of Hawaii. Patrick Leahy, Vermont. Ed Markey, Massachusetts. He's a douche. Robert Menendez, New Jersey. Chris Murphy, Connecticut. Alex Padilla, California. Jack Reed, Rhode Island. Chris Van Hollen, Maryland. Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts. And Sheldon Whitehouse, Rhode Island. Every one of them is a Democrat. Shocker. But there are a host of representatives. Too many for me to name. So I will link it down below. I don't see an R next to any names. So shocker, these are the people who are anti-gun anyway, probably. But take note, because there were a lot of Democrats that ran and said, I'm pro-2A. But take note. More briefs from Brady's gun control group. Former national security officials. See, members of the business community. American Medical Association. The Medical Society of the State of New York, American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, can't even talk right now, Prosecutors Against Gun Violence, the City of New York, Giffords Law Center to Prevent Gun Violence, Americans Against Gun Violence, and then we have a whole bunch of clergy. Let's see, presiding bishop and president of the House of Deputies of the Episcopal Church, the Evangelical Lutheran Church of America, General Synod of the United Church of Christ, Central Conference of American Rabbis, Union to Reform Judaism, Women of Reform Judaism, Men of Reform Judaism, the Church of the Brethren Office of Peace Building and Policy, Reconstructionist Rabbinical Association, sorry if I'm messing these words up, I'm not familiar with them, Reconstructing Judaism, and more than 400 individual clergy and faith leaders from United Methodist, Presbyterian Episcopal, Evangelical Lutheran, United Church of Christ, Mennonite, Disciples of Christ, African Methodist Episcopal, Church of God in Christ, Unitarian Universalist, American Baptist, Cooperative Baptist, Jewish, and Catholic. Over 400 clergymen or women say, hey, violate rights. A brief from, it was like 17 professors of history and law. I guess they think they're important. And major city chiefs of police. I took note of this one for obvious reasons. There are 7 former commissioners or chiefs of police from the following cities: Boston, Buffalo, Chicago, Los Angeles, Milwaukee, Newark, New York City, Philadelphia, Seattle, and D.C. All of those are shitholes. So criminals are cool, but not you. You can't defend yourself. Sorry, for obvious reasons, that burns me there. And a brief from John Elson. So, whole lot of people came out yesterday against the Second Amendment in their amicus briefs saying, hey, court, we think that we should be able to control who has a gun in this country, especially if they're just doing it the right way. The criminals, we're not going to do anything to, enforce the law or be tough on crime. In fact, we're going to just give all of these weapons to the Taliban and let everybody camp out at the southern border, but don't pay attention to that. Keep this illegal, unconstitutional action going forward. So back in July, it was right around July 20th is when all the pro 2A amicus briefs were submitted. Today I wanted to tell you about all the anti-gun ones, and there's some heavy hitters in there, including all those clowns. 152 members of Congress want to keep violating your rights. They're pushing an agenda to violate the Constitution, and yet some of you folks out here in our community are Democrat, and that's fine. But you're voting for these people who are gun grabbers. It's time to check yourself. Even if you vote Republican, some of those Republican clowns do the same thing. They're both just two sides of the coin. It's a double-headed monster. They're all working to secure more power. Yeah, there's one or two here or there that are saying the right thing, but are they doing the right thing? And it's on us, folks. We, the people, have the power in this country. It's about time more of us start to realize that. Let me know what you think down below. I'll have a link to this specific section of the Supreme Court website where you can click on all of these amicus briefs. You can read each one individually if you really have nothing better to do. And we will be watching this one close. The anti-gunners are shaking in their boots because if the Supreme Court goes against this case and strikes down New York's style of issuing pistol permits or gun permits, however they term it in New York, I forget. But this will kill gun control, and it'll take the legs right out from underneath it, because this is kind of what the states that are anti-gun, this is what it's based off of. So we'll see. Let me know what you think down below. Link is down below. Please consider subscribing to the channel if you want the shirts that help support the channel, the Guns and Gadgets shirts and patches. I'll have a link down below as well. And check out the pinned comment. I'll throw them there too. Till we see each other again, be safe, stay vigilant, carry a weapon. I love in each and every single one of y'all. And thank you for being part of this channel. Take care.